You're watching Fanboy Versus with your hosts, JD Church, Nicole Hale, Chris Triplett, and Chris McFeely.
And you are watching Fanboy Versus. I am your host, JD. Hey, everybody's on video!
What?
Yes, Nicole Hale, Chris Triplett, Chris McFeely. We're all here. Yay! Sorry about last week. Yeah, we basically updated our software and lost some audio and ended up not having video. And so I had to, thankfully, Nicole had the audio for the show, so we were able to at least have audio out for you.
That's what you get for, me being sneaky and recording every conversation I have on Skype.
Right. So, yeah. So cool. So, it is Fanboy Versus Zero month as we officially start the DC month of zero issues for their new 52. We're going to talk about a lot of those. In fact, we're going to talk about Green Lantern Zero at the end of the show because DC has their new Green Lantern Baz out.
Their newest way of getting people to buy comics.
Well, I don't know. We'll talk about that. As he is bursting through the cover with a gun pointed at you.
And it's not even like a Green Lantern constructed gun.
I know.
That, man.
That's
right.
That's the kind of odd.
Yeah, that's why. But it's like, look out, Muslim.
Muslim with a gun and a mask, full face, almost. Wow. Okay, so we'll have that. We'll have lots of stuff. An absolute metric shit ton of comics came out this week, so we are going to be doing like compiled quick review, at least recommendations, because holy crap, a lot of stuff happened. So hopefully the show won't go too long. So then let's get to it. Chris McFeely, it's good to see you again on video, by the way. Hey, he's alive. Look at that beard, the little goatees rocking.
I took it over from up here
and moved it down. Nice. Well, tell us, sir, what is in the news?
Well, it's a very Marvel-heavy week in news this week because, as predicted, the second wave of Marvel Now teasers have come out. You remember those one-word teasers from last month, where it was like worthy, family, invincible, fantastic, all the rest of it, and you could easily tell what the comics were based on the words. Not a damn clue what these comics are this week. But that's the fun part, because we speculated that this would probably be the somewhat more random, harder to guess assortment of books that will be coming out. This is for December. So what we've got is Sam Humphries and Ron Garney on a title where the keyword is killers.
Okay, so Punisher and Deadpool.
Men. Yeah, but what is the book?
Punisher and Deadpool.
Right.
They kill the Marvel Universe.
It's what? That makes sense. That's perfect, right? Punisher and Deadpool kill the Marvel Universe. Like that's the that's the book. There you go.
A lot of speculation suggests maybe that could be X-Force, but
that would be boring. Let's get Punisher and Deadpool.
The others are Dennis Hopeless and Kev Walker, and their book is Survive, and that's spattered with blood. So,
X-Men Savage Lands.
Okay.
Dennis Hopeless is also doing something with Salvador Larroca, which is interesting because Sal Larroca's been fairly big business at Marvel. But he's had the unbroken run on Iron Man with Matt Fraction, and everybody kind of figured he'd be going off to do something pretty high profile. So it's interesting that a relatively untested one like Hopeless, who has done oh goodness, what was that they did recently? A Legion of Monsters. Legion of Monsters was him.
I like that one.
Yeah. Well, it was good. That's interesting. I mean, the key word for this other one is wanted.
Hope. Solo Hope title.
And then the fourth and final one is Daniel Way and Steve Dillon on something with the tagline of Lightning, which would maybe suggest the Thunderbolts.
Thunderstrike. He's coming back.
Thunderstrike is coming back.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Did I mention to you, Chris Triplett, and in that huge stack of books that I got from my brother-in-law, there was a Thunderstrike book.
Nice.
In that. Yeah. I was like, who is this? And Brian's like, oh, man. Chris Triplett would love that.
The interesting thing is that there is a crosshairs over the top of this word lightning, which immediately conjures to mind the Punisher. But what that might mean, I don't know. These are all very, I don't know. It's very hard to tell.
I kind of just don't care, you know. I mean, I really
Wow.
don't. Like, I've been seeing these things, and I just don't care. It's like if they want to sell me on a book, just tell me what it is at this point. I don't care. You know what I mean?
No, Marvel's gotten really good, and by good I mean it's what they do at these like teaser deals where it's like a shadow or silhouette or a name or something.
Well, we'll find out next week probably, and then we'll get the solicits for them the week after. So
Yeah.
it's just a little bit for now. I mean, actually, speaking of shadows and things, another thing we got from Marvel this week actually was the covers for Avengers #1 and 2 and New Avengers #1, or is it? Or maybe it's the first 3 issues of Avengers, but it forms a gatefold image that gives us a look at who's on Jonathan Hickman's expanded roster of the team. And we've got Captain America, Captain Marvel, the Hulk, Wolverine, Falcon, Thor, Black Widow, Iron Man, Spider-Woman, Hawkeye, Spider-Man, Cannonball, and Sunspot.
Weird.
Sunspot?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, who?
What?
Yeah.
Who?
Who is Sunspot now? Why is he on the? No, I know who it is. I'm just saying.
I have no idea.
Amazing. Sunspot's a new mutant.
Okay.
As was Cannonball. And there's also a shadowed figure in the background that we can't get a look at.
Magneto.
Of one of these. Well, I don't know. He's wearing something with a chest symbol on it that's like 2 circles collected with a line between the 2 of them.
It's the new Century.
Oh, Jesus. It's like, I think
Century's
that is the one thing no one will ever do, because they just saw how much of a cataclysmic failure it was. It's the same reason nobody's ever brought back Death Cry,
Oh, it'll happen. Some
know,
kid that will grow up in 20 years will just think that Century was the best thing and bring him back.
At that point, 70-year-old Joe Quesada, who will still be in charge of Marvel, will go,
Still doing
No, I remember when.
Still doing pictorials of how he does a pose and then draws it as a cover.
Dude, it'll before then. In New Century, he'll be in Avengers 2. I'm calling it right now. He'll be in the movie.
Oh God.
Boom.
Oh, wow.
Very thought of it fills me with bile and disgust.
Oh God, that would be awful.
I think I would like to believe, and the way that he was sent out and the way that they punctuated the end of that era by killing him and then doing an issue which was like saying, yes, we swear to God he is dead, honestly, is like, I have to believe someone in editorial, if not Bendis himself, just realized what a terrible clusterfuck of an idea and the execution bringing back the Sentry was, and that he will never, ever, ever come back, ever.
Let's hope.
So over at DC.
Speaking of clusterfucks.
Yes, well, it's not really, but the word has come out that the cover to Catwoman #0 has changed.
Thank
Correct.
goodness.
I'm really surprised that they did this.
I am a little bit surprised too, as well, because it's not like DC has really tried to address any of these issues whenever they've been raised to them before. They didn't go back.
So is it mostly just because that first cover is just awful, or did they get a lot of complaints? Do we know why?
Yes, I think it's both.
I think it's less the quantity and more the volume.
Yeah.
In terms of sound, loudness, attention. I don't know. I mean, I can't say I ever cared. And while the new cover is not as warped, it's still a fairly outlandish pose, and now she doesn't look like she's leaping through the cover anymore. Which was
No,
the
she
point,
don't, does she?
the unifying point of all the number 0 covers.
Yeah.
Just don't care. She's awfully shitty in the new one.
I mean, I wasn't gonna buy it before, and now that they've
No,
changed,
that's
I'm
not
still
true.
not gonna buy it.
No.
So
Well, they did announce the new author for that. Was that this week? When did they announce that?
But Dante was taking it
yeah.
over. No, they announced that a while back.
Okay.
They did. Well, the thing that's come out of this is that Adriana Malo is going to be penciling this issue when it was advertised as being Rafa Sandoval, which was odd
Right.
because he's Marvel exclusive.
Hmm.
Somebody realized that, obviously, in between times and has adjusted things.
They have changed some of these covers though. If you go down the list,
yeah, but
it's
not
the-
significantly in any way.
No, but they're not all. It doesn't all seem.
Except for Team 7. Team 7's got a new logo and it is an outright new drawing. They've touched some shit up otherwise.
Yeah, I think it's made it kind of clear, a little more clear who is who now. On
Oh yeah, I didn't really look too closely at it, to be honest. But yeah, that's
because when the first one came out,
remember the fun we had?
God, trying to pick out and how wrong we were. Yeah.
Well, frankly, right now I can still only tell you who Grifter and Deathstroke and Black Canary are, and I'm gonna assume that she's Amanda Waller because she's black, and then these other 3 dudes with the Venetian blind armor heads.
Yeah. Good luck figuring that out.
I care not.
Can I take just a quick second to say I don't want this to come off bad, but I really hate Wildstorm characters in the DC universe. I mean, I
Starting
really
to bother
hate
you a little bit.
Well, I read the Superman annual because it was like one of the books that I think I had from like last week, and I was trying to get caught up on Superman. And dude, Grifter was like all in that issue. Grifter in like the Wildcats villain Hellspont from like back in the 90s or something. And I'm like thinking he's a major villain for Superman now, and he's a crappy Wildstorm character. Why is this happening?
Was
I'm
he
like-
just all in it, or was he all up in it?
Like Grifter was like a main character. Like Superman knew who Grifter was, and I was like, I barely know who Grifter is. How does Superman know who Grifter is?
Yeah.
Or
I don't know. That has been an odd, piece of the puzzle, I guess, out of the
It
new
just
52.
doesn't fit. I mean, it's like they're forced fit. It's like you're putting a puzzle together and you're forcing that piece in, even though you know it's not gonna fit. You're hammering it with the hammer to get it to fit in, and it still doesn't work. It just doesn't. It ain't right.
That amongst the Rob Liefeld controversy of past weeks, there was some chat about how there was supposed to be some kind of fall crossover between Grifter and Superman and a couple of other books that this was all supposed to be part of, and then that's not going to happen now.
Yeah,
And
that I do
seems to be
remember
a sort of-
that was part of that Rob rant,
yeah,
that early
this
part.
seems to be a lingering after effect of that. But perhaps it'll all go away now.
Well, it seems like they've really tied that Wildcats villain into Superman's origins. Like he knows stuff about like the Kryptonians and like his parents and stuff that Superman doesn't know. He's gonna have to find it out by fighting Hellspawn, I guess.
You know what?
I don't-
If Grant Morrison didn't write it, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care.
I know. I'm just saying, it's just stupid.
Speaking of stupid things from DC, another announcement that we had this week is that, well, apparently the CW were working on a Young Wonder Woman series.
Yes.
Yay!
Oh, yeah. And to be fair, to its possible credit, it is at a script development stage being written by Alan Heinberg, who is a good TV writer, who wrote Young Avengers, was good from Marvel, and who wrote the only 5 issues of Wonder Woman I can definitely say that I totally liked.
Wow.
Yeah, I was gonna say he wrote Wonder Woman too, so that makes it legitimate. That makes it okay.
Cool.
But
But
it's under the working title of Amazon.
to go with Arrow.
Sure.
So tell me your teen Wonder Woman idea. I've been waiting
Yeah, I wanted to hear.
in
this.
anticipation
Yeah.
for this.
We've heard.
I was spitballing with a customer, and well, it all just sort of came spilling out of my brain. To survive man's world, Diana Prince will have to first survive high school.
Oh God. Oh God.
Like the high school is called Themyscira, right? I mean, the high school is called Themyscira, right?
Themyscira High.
Thursday date on the CW. So okay, this is quite in depth, so bear with me here. It's kind of unfolded. So to prepare her for her role as ambassador to man's world, Wonder Woman's mother has enrolled her at Themyscira High, which I'm not sure if I want to call it Themyscira High or not, because it doesn't technically make any sense, but it's the sort of crap name that the show would totally be named.
Yeah.
So of course, Hippolyta is played by Linda Carter and only appears in the first episode.
Cool. Yeah.
And you know, maybe we get some kind of Dear Princess Celestia style letters home at the end of every episode or something.
Cool.
And Linda Carter reads her daughter's missives home. So at school, of course, she's an outcast because what star of a teen drama is? But she's got her nerdy best friend Etta Candy, is that she's good with the computer, and she's got her she's got her really handsome and cut dude friend who is yet still somehow a social outcast. You know, he's like the Xander out of Buffy, and that's Steve Trevor, and he pines for her. Obviously, he loves her, but no. She's actually a man. She's gone and landed herself. She hasn't landed herself, but she pines after the star quarterback of the team who sort of leads her on at times, and his name is Bill Marston.
Oh God.
Bill Marston. Now, in the course of the pilot episode, you know, sinister things seem to be afoot in the faculty, and it all seems to center on the headmistress, who I don't have a name for yet. I don't have a funny name for her yet. But you know, it's very
a name of one of the goddesses or something.
No, very straightforward, hair up in a bun, horn-rimmed glasses, button-down thing. But I think, like, probably by use of some really tacky magic mirror in her office or something, that we'll see her true face. And of course, we'll find that out at the end of the pilot. And oh my god, it's Cersei. Cersei's in disguise, and she is the head. And of course, there's plenty of room for all of Wonder Woman's classic villains to fit into the high school setup.
I feel like you missed out on an opportunity of making Cheetah that Cheetah.
See what you know, Cheetah?
You know.
The school's football team are the Wildcats, okay, and their costume, their uniforms are black. They're black and yellow. And who is the snotty, bitchy head cheerleader but Barbara Minerva, of course?
Oh, my God.
Who hates Diana Prince because she seems to have got Bill Marston, star quarterback's eye, you know. So she is out for her. Now, and sometime in the course of the first season, she will try to stage something, and it'll totally backfire on her, and she'll be shown up and embarrassed by Diana Prince. So Cersei will give her the powers that she will need to get revenge. And, of course, this is TV budget, so she won't actually turn into a cheetah woman or anything, but she will have light-up cat eyes.
Only for like 2 seconds when she beats her at the end of the episode. Cheetah.
Just whenever they need to show that she's about to, like, jump on something. And, you know, to show that she's going for them, she'll probably eat a mouse at some point in the course.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
The football team is called the Wildcats, and their animal emblem is a cheetah, of course, and the cheerleader and the football outfits are black and yellow, and she'll have black and yellow pom-poms, and she'll probably have yellow streaks in her black hair, you know. It's the cheetah, you know, it's it. And Doris Zool is the unpopular fat girl, but then through Cersei's magic, she will be made skinny and beautiful and be the object of all the boys' attentions. But Diana will know something is wrong, and she'll try to undo it, and Doris will hate her because she will be afraid of, and this will be the through line of the episode, getting big again, and then, she should get big in a totally different way, and that's Giganta.
Oh, God.
I'm loving this!
Wow.
Dr. Psycho is the school counselor who is just
I was gonna say he's got to be like a teacher or something.
Dr. Psycho is the school counselor. And there's room to expand all this other stuff. Dr. Cyber can just be like the metal shop teacher or something. Dr. Poison can be the biology teacher, the chemistry teacher or something. And then it's probably like the multi-part finale to the season when over the course of the season when we've seen Bill Marston have secret meetings with the headmistress, and we progressively figure out something is up there, and then in the penultimate episode it's he uses the mirror as well, and oh my god, his surname was totally not a reference to William Marston, Wonder Woman's creator, but a reference to the Roman name of his true identity. It's only Ares.
Oh no. Oh my god.
Okay, I don't work for CW, but if I did, I would approve this, and I would say it will last at least 11 seasons.
At least.
At least.
But, well, no, of course, what you have to do there is you have to take all of that and stretch it out over 11 seasons.
We can do that.
They could be in high school for 11 years.
We can do, and she'll never actually, use the golden lasso, because when she does, that's when she leaves the high school.
They'll probably go on a school trip to a dude ranch at some point, and she'll be really good with the lasso.
Yeah, she'll be you'll tease it, but she'll never actually use it.
And she wears
and she'll probably
a bracelet
that's on at the end of the first season.
But she wears a bracelet. It's not the bracelets, but it's
probably she'll be given them by her mum or something at the end of the first season or something like that. Yeah, maybe Zeus could come down for a parent-teacher conference, something like that. And of course we can have guest appearances from the other gods as the mythology grows over the course of the series, and you can have Hermes as some kind of wisecracking. I don't know, wisecracking seems to be that'll be the baseline. That'll do it.
I can't wait until the episode where she gets her license and it's in a invisible car. That'll be awesome.
And of course, you'll probably get Eros will come down, and then assorted, unwanted love drama will ensue whenever, Etta and Steve hook up under his influence, and then it'll be really awkward afterwards. And so that's about as far as it's gone on it.
So badly right now. I mean, CW needs a win, and I think Wonder Woman does win. Yeah.
God.
We have that is just about all of the major Wonder Woman villains.
Man. Well.
So that's terrible, but it's probably about the baseline of what we can expect.
Yeah, that's probably pretty close.
Wonder Woman's Themyscira High, Thursdays at 8 on the CW.
I approve of this. But I think that Themyscira High will be too hard to pronounce. I think it will be called just Amazon High or something.
Amazon High is not a bad name. They could just call it Diana.
Can pronounce that. That's Amazon. I can spell that. That's a small word.
They could just call it Diana. Like Felicity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the name. That's the tricky one, That's why I'm not sure I want to call the school Themyscira High, because it doesn't actually technically make sense.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's important for a CW series.
Yeah.
Amazon High. I'm good with that.
Amazon High is not bad. It sounds like it teaches Amazons.
Yeah.
It's funny because that is exactly what Smallville was for the first season, and then it stopped being that after the first season and started trying to be find ways to force Superman's rogues gallery into the thing when he was still in school. But it's like you remember in the first season when you had Mixes Pitlick as a foreign exchange student? It was
Yes.
that is exactly the sort of stupid shit I'm imagining here.
Exactly.
Wow.
But then
This
you have things,
could be
Cersei is a real
fantastic.
goddess and everything, or a real immortal, and she's a sorceress, and she's disguised her thing in order to destroy Diana for reasons that are tremendously unclear. But she's conspiring with
could be-
Ares.
This could be my new Wednesday nights. This needs to happen.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And I guess maybe in the second season, if they can push the budget out, they could turn the cheetah into a real cheetah.
There you go.
Oh, that's entirely
She'll
unnecessary.
just have the eyes in the first season at moments, and then they'll jump cut things, and she'll eat the occasional bird or mouse. And maybe her mom could be Priscilla. Maybe she could be Barbara Minerva Rich, and her mom could be Priscilla Rich, who was the original cheetah, and it wouldn't be anything except a reference, like a big fat dumb stupid reference.
Just for fun.
Nobody's
Fun,
gonna
yeah.
get because nobody will get that.
Yeah. Awesome.
And I think short of Angleman, who I have, maybe he could just be the geometry teacher.
That would be awesome.
See, in this show, Batman will actually show up. Unlike in Smallville, whenever I was like, dude, Batman's gonna show up. He's gonna be like, he's gonna be Bruce Wayne when he was young. No, that never happened. This will happen in this show. He'll just be that mysterious kid that's like, yeah, I gotta move on. I'm learning to be a magician or something this week. I'm learning martial art. You know what I mean?
What would he come to the school to learn?
Yeah, he comes to the school to learn about Greek mythology or something. I don't know.
It needs to be a good, solid reason for something that Batman would come to this school to learn. Don't know what?
He heard about something that was going on at the school, and he went there to investigate it, and he thought it would teach him some detective skills so he could figure out what the problem was. Like somebody gets killed or something, so he starts to learn detective skills to help Diana solve a murder.
Passing through. Yeah,
Passing
something like
through, yeah. He's on his way to like New York or something. I don't know.
And then we'll probably like go into a warehouse at some point, and the warehouse will have like some bats in it.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's how the episode starts. That's how the episode starts. Like
Yeah, and then he like
out doing something, and then like these bats come flying out, and this kid walks
some
out.
bad shit happens. Like they chase like a bad guy into a warehouse or something.
Yeah.
And when they're in there, like, where did he go? I don't know. And then off screen you hear, thump, and he falls on the ground. And then, what was that? And they go around, and then it's like, just a load of bats blow
And
past
then a bunch of
them.
bats
And
fly
like
out, and then the kid walks out.
Just standing then on the other side of the cloud of bats over the body of the guy who's fallen down. He is young Bruce Wayne, little Bruce Wayne.
I want this to happen so bad.
Wow.
Bruce Wayne comes to Themyscira High this Thursday on the CW.
Wow.
I want
That's
life.
news.
Yep.
And that's the news. So we've just presented you with something that will not happen as awesome as we have described it. But nonetheless. Wow. Very sorry for video issues, by the way, for those of you watching the video. So anything else in the actual news?
Oh no, I was saving that for last.
Okay, cool. Awesome.
As I see that Gruflox pointed out on Twitter, there is not a dissimilarity to the never-made pitch for a Batman in schools cartoon called Gotham High.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys have seen that. That's a real thing, but that did happen. And it was after I had developed this in my head that I thought, that's awfully similar to Gotham High, you know, that I think about it.
Yeah, I heard something about that. Because, like, didn't they, like, tease, like, Bruce would show up on Smallville, and then that might eventually lead to,
Oh, no,
like,
this was a cartoon.
spin-off or something?
So this
This
was going to be a cartoon wherever, like, Batman and all of his villains were in school together.
Yeah, I saw that. I saw that, too. I've seen, like, 2 versions of this. I've seen, like, an actual possible TV show that could have happened at one point, and then, like, there were actually animation drawings or something of the one you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
I think I've
But-
seen drawings of those or something.
Would never be as awesome as Wonder Woman.
No, it wouldn't.
No. No.
She'd wear a lot of red and blue, obviously.
Oh yeah. She'd have to have like a what would it be like a red top with a blue jacket.
I see
and
this being the part
jeans.
where the jacket actually works, and like when they
Yeah.
actually redesigned her costume, this time it actually works.
She'd
'cause
wear-
that look,
Yeah, because she'd wear like
You can actually get to wear a decent pair of pants.
yeah, like the red body. It'd be like a red bodysuit with a blue jacket and like a pair of jeans with heels.
Yep.
Yep.
That would be it.
Totally.
And there would be
She
gold.
might have like star earrings, you know, those gaudy looking star earrings.
Oh
that's
yeah.
cool, that works.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
Absolutely.
And she probably
I
wear like
love
a big
this.
oopy bracelets.
Yeah, that's something like the big
Take them
bangle
off and
bracelets or
replace
something.
them with the actual bracelets.
Yeah.
At the end of the Or no, oh my God, no way, no, totally. They're the real bracelets, but they're in a disguised form by her mother until she proves herself worthy.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the series, the bracelets transform and she wins with them.
Yeah, but you never, even when you do see her in the final costume, it's not you don't really see it.
No,
It's
but
so
that's-
far
you
off,
think
you
it's
can't
too far
tell.
ahead. You know?
Yeah.
Well, no, they probably have to throw a big blur effect up over that anyway at 8 o'clock on the morning on the CW.
Yeah.
Too much flash!
Oh God.
I love
Okay, let's see.
The things I think about.
I want this so bad.
Yeah, this sounds great. Now if
Oh,
Arrow,
what did I miss out on?
you missed. You all get to go back and listen to it in the actual show.
I just had a power outage. Sorry.
It's okay.
You missed. We were still talking about my pitch went on and on.
Yeah, I just kept. Actually, I used it. I used it to stall to get you back. Actually, so now that you're back, let's
Yay.
move on to.
I'm sorry about that. It's just
no
like,
problem.
oh man, it's getting so good.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to our recommendations then for the week, starting with Chris Triplett.
All right. Hey, technical errors count as a drink, right? I mean, people can drink now, right?
Sure.
Just saying.
Yes.
Why not? I mean,
Awesome.
The more the merrier, you know.
If you weren't
Well,
drinking after that, you probably
Yeah.
You should. My God, drink while listening to McFeely talk about Themyscira High. I absolutely love it. I'm going to do some quick hits, too, because I couldn't narrow it down to just one book. I read so much crap this week.
You have 10 minutes. Go.
Yep. Ultimate Spider-Man number 14, which was awesome. It made me think we needed to retitle this episode to Captain America, You Are a Jerk, because that is great. Did you read it, McFeely?
I did read it. I have it here.
That's cool. I mean, that's a callback to what Kitty Pryde, X-Men.
calling Professor Xavier
Professor-
a jerk.
Yeah, I love that.
Back when.
And I only
And
really
he
meant,
is, too.
huh?
He is, too.
He is, yeah. He is a jerk. That's
Yeah.
why Cyclops is such a jerk. And Captain America is a jerk, too. And the reason he's a jerk is he doesn't want Miles Morales to be Spider-Man anymore. Because he is a kid, and kids can't be superheroes because they might get killed or something might happen to them.
You do
And
forget
he-
how young Miles is, though. Because
Yeah.
he is really
Yeah,
young.
How old is he? Like 12?
He's
Is he
13.
14?
Wow.
No, is he 13? I thought he was 14. I think he's 14.
He is, hang on, what does it say? Hang on.
They have a
Cap
conversation
asked
about
him,
it.
yeah. There's you're what, 12? Almost 14. 13. That's 10 years.
Almost 13. Okay. 13. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, like, this issue is pretty much like Miles trying to prove to Cap that he should be Spider-Man. But the big thing about this issue, it's what we've been waiting for.
Oh, yeah.
Miles gets shooters in this issue.
Woohoo!
Yeah, because Aunt May and Gwen Stacy come and see him, and they have a heartfelt talk and decide that, hey, don't do. She says, don't do this because everybody tells you to do it. Don't do this because you think Peter Parker wants you to do this. I mean, do this because Miles Morales wants to do this. And then she gives them the web shooters. And, I don't know. It sort of kind of feels like with this issue, he's almost kind of like now he is Spider-Man. Like he was before, but now, like, he's done good. He's proved that he can do good. Even at the end of this issue, I'm just going to spoil it for you. He proves to Captain America that, hey, he needs to be out there. He needs to be fighting. Cap even makes a joke. It's like, okay, you can stay, but I'm going to train you. Or you're going to get trained or something. And he makes the joke that, so are you going to do the training? Talking to Captain America. But it's just kind of a cool issue because it feels like, he is the ultimate Spider-Man now. I mean, I approved of him from the start, but this is the issue where you sort of like feel like, yeah, he is Spider-Man and he's here to stay. I hope he stays Spider-Man, like, period. So, cool issue. Swamp Thing number 0, which is probably my favorite of the Zero issues that I've read. I mean, I really liked it. It's basically just a retelling of the origin, which, if you know Swamp Thing, you kind of know, hey, you got caught on fire, he jumped in the swamp, he's a Swamp Thing. Yeah, that's basically his...
Wait, no,
Like you do.
I mean, that's his origin in a nutshell.
God, I'm imagining. I mean, please do not try that, because I'm imagining our listeners. Someone out there that lives in like Louisiana is like dousing themselves in lighter fluid. like
doused in chemicals or something too. He's like working on some sort of chemical or something.
Good. Add radioactive chemicals as well.
Yeah, then he got caught on fire, and then he jumped into the swamp. But what this issue does is it kind of rotates it a little bit. I don't know if like Arcane, the main bad guy, was there when it originally happened, but I'm pretty sure that he wasn't an agent of the Rot, like in the original telling of his story or origin. But in this case, he is. He's an agent of the Rot, and he was there to murder Alec Holland because he was going to be the next heir Swamp Thing. He was going to be the greatest Swamp Thing, and he didn't really die. It turns out that the Tree of Parliament found a way to, wait until he had come back. Like, he basically didn't die; he just waited, and he healed for years and years, and then he comes back through Brightest Day, which we all read, if you remember. So it's kind of a cool little side story with it. I enjoyed it. It's all right.
Was Brightest Day 3 years ago?
More like
two, yeah.
Yeah, that was like the last thing before what? The New 52? No, wait, no, they did
Brightest Day ended.
Flashpoint, right?
Yeah,
and then like
Flashpoint,
Flash was Brightest Day, right?
Yeah,
Right,
so Brightest Day really didn't even. It ended like less than 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not been. And then just real quickly, Punisher number 15. Punisher continues to be awesome. My God, Greg Rucka, please do not quit writing Punisher comics. I want this book.
You know that he is leaving, right?
I know he's leaving. That's why.
Okay, just checking in.
He's pleading. He's like, don't do it.
I mean, this is like the best Punisher comic in years. I mean, I've never been like a huge fan of the Punisher, but my God, it's awesome. If they ever make another Punisher movie, and by God, if they make it, don't make it be as awful as that second movie because it was terrible.
He punched a guy through the head. Come on.
Oh, but still, if you make a movie, base it off of this. Punisher gets a partner just as tormented and screwed up as he is. That could be an awesome movie. I'm just telling you that right now.
He shot a crook doing parkour with a rocket launcher.
Oh,
I mean, that was badass.
Those are the only two good bits. To be fair.
So I saw, and that's about all of the movie I've seen. So I've seen the good stuff then, right?
This Punisher comic is legitimately good. I mean, it is good. I like it. I like the characters in it. I like what they've done with it. It's awesome. And want more of this is all I can say. Please.
How many more issues does he have on it?
I don't know. This is 15. McFeely, do you know when it ends?
I think the.
It's soon.
Let's see. Hang on. This is the month. This is September. I think
like
there must be one more next month at least, and then I believe the Warzone miniseries kicks in, which is 5 issues long, and that's going to be the final stage of it.
It feels like it's wrapping up because the whole point has been about this military sergeant, I guess is what she would have been.
It's really her story.
It's really her story, and in this issue, they basically get the guys that like murdered her husband on their wedding day and her family and everything. So like that stuff is done. Stuff with the cop that's been helping Punisher seems like that's about pretty much done. I mean, I don't see much more where they can go with it. I kind of feel like they're going in the direction where she might become a threat now because once she doesn't have purpose anymore. What does she do now? Does she go over the edge? I mean, because she's already done some crazy stuff, going back to the Omega Effect storyline where she betrayed him and everything. So yeah, it's awesome. I mean, if you're not buying Punisher, what is wrong with you? This book is awesome.
I don't buy Punisher.
I don't buy Punisher.
I don't care.
There's something wrong with me.
I don't care for Punisher.
But yeah, that's my quick 3.
I don't buy
fact-
Punisher because my wallet screams.
In fact, during the comic confessions this morning, I think it was Timey that said that
this week
Punisher's
killed me.
awful.
This week killed me. I'm just like, oh, there's so much out.
You should debate with Timey though, because he did. He said that Punisher is a terrible character. So
this might make him a character because what's awesome is they continue the stuff where Punisher really doesn't talk much.
well, then I think that would prove his point.
That's why that'd never succeed very much as a movie, because people who don't understand what it's based on would just be like, why is Punisher not talking? I want to see a film with the Punisher. I know this is a good story and everything, but why is the Punisher not talking?
I know this is great and all.
He does talk in it, but it's like he barks orders. Like he tells her,
Yeah.
clear the hostiles, get out of the building. She's like, okay. You know, I mean, like that's it. Like he just barks orders. That's all he is. He is a force, and you should stay the hell out of his way. That's what he is.
Okay.
For sure.
Anything else?
Show.
Nah, that's my quick hits.
Perfect. Right
They're
at 10.
awesome.
Look at the man.
Yeah.
Like a podcasting pro now.
Doing it for nearly 3 years.
Yeah. All right, Nicole.
Hello. Okay, I've got two that I want to highly recommend. The first one is Hawkeye.
Yes.
You guys know him. He was in a movie this summer. I don't know if you heard about it.
You may have heard of it.
Yeah, that was the Bourne Identity.
The
right?
Bourne Identity, yes.
Yeah. I remember that.
The Bourne. What was that one? It was the Bourne Ultimatum.
Legacy.
Legacy. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched that last night with the girls. We had girls' night out. We had a lot of fun.
It was the born to take more of your money. is what
Yeah.
it was.
Born. Born to bomb.
This way.
I gotta say too, Matt Fraction totally got me, and I'm sure other people, because he mentioned that he was going to be wearing his Hawkeye cosplay for the launch day on Twitter of the second issue, and like midway through the day, he tweeted a picture of himself in a purple shirt holding a coffee mug. It was just a purple T-shirt, and I was like, I see what you did. That's awesome.
Because that's what he does in this issue.
Because Hawkeye wears a purple shirt. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically, well, you're introduced more to Kate Bishop, but we also see the adventure that these two take about robbing from robbers who rob robbers.
Woo!
Or you could say it's thieving from thieves who thieve from thieves.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Okay.
So you've got like this little story, and it's got crazy French circus folk in it.
Woo, yeah.
French in quotation marks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fake French is, as what they say, French as fries.
Yeah, French as
Yeah.
fries is
Well,
awesome.
that's the circus of crime.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Not
but it's
French in the
interesting
slightest.
because Clint meets up with, I guess, an old buddy. I guess you could say.
Well, at least
a
trained,
mentor.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a very adventurous comic. It's full of action. Again, you get some little quirks from Hawkeye, his mouth taken off with him. It's just a fun little adventure. You really can't say a whole lot about it because it's just one big adventure, page after page. You just get to, oops, sorry, my phone went off. Yeah, and if you guys aren't reading this, for the second issue, it really gets you going. And at the end, you get to see where this next adventure might take place. And it could be anywhere. He has a map of his to-do list, and it's got pinpointed all around the world. So
Yeah.
who knows? And plus, you can see like this relationship between him and Kate. Imagine that.
Which is
Now,
like
him and
not a
him
relationship,
being alive
though,
to
because
have
that's...
those- that is not healthy.
Yeah.
He's got a relationship with who? I missed that. Who?
Kate Bishop. Kate Bishop.
Young Avengers Hawkeye.
And
Oh, okay.
the best part of this, they do have one panel with his dog. So his dog's still there.
That he renamed Lucky.
The dog's
Oh.
name. Oh dear.
Lucky.
I like Arrow. Why don't they name it Arrow?
His name is Lucky because, he got ran over.
Yeah, they
He's
can't
been
name it
about
Arrow.
died.
There's a popular CW TV show coming along with the same.
Well, that was wasn't that, was
Yeah.
the dog's name, though, wasn't it? And they changed it. The last issue, it had a different name.
It was Arrow.
It was Arrow, and so he
Yeah.
changed it to...
Yeah, that's why I
Oh,
said
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so apparently
Yeah, I want to see like a issue where he like shoots the dog with the bow at somebody.
Oh,
oh, wow.
And then see, the dog is like his sidekick, and he teaches it to like get shot with the bow, and then it bites people. It's like a Simpsons joke or something.
Wow. Keep your spine rigid, boy.
Yeah,
Good Lord.
Matt Fraction did a great job telling the story of, I'd say, a lesser-known Avenger. So, and it's definitely got a lot of purple coloring in it. The artwork is almost like if you ever read Thief of Thieves.
Yeah.
Hey, that's ironic because this is about a thief too.
Hey.
Oh, I just put that together.
Yeah, it's kind of a
Thief, as it were.
yeah, and similar to, and I think we mentioned it last time that we did this one, to Who Is Jake Ellis as well. It's kind of a new, it's kind of a different style that's come about. A couple other artists are tampering with, so
Yeah, it's,
I like
it's
it.
like everything's in black and white except for like the background is colored.
Yeah, it's
and a lot of things. So
yeah,
there's purples and
minimalist
so-
coloring is really kind of what it
Yeah.
is. It's really only utilizing like 3 or 4 colors per panel.
Yeah. See, at first I didn't think I'd like it, but I think I'm getting used to it. I'm thinking, yeah, it's not
Yeah,
bad.
I like it.
It goes with Hawkeye, and his signature purple. So, and I see what he did with the whole cosplay thing.
Yeah, it was funny. I was like, there is no way that Matt Fraction is going to be in a Hawkeye cosplay, and I was like, oh, that's funny.
I see what you did.
Yeah, and the next one I am recommending. Now get your drinks out, people. Yes, I am recommending the micro series for
No.
TMNT. But this one is Fugitoid.
Oh my
This one
God.
is probably
Fugitoid.
less. Yeah. Now, if you guys know Fugitoid, yeah, that's good. But a lot of people probably don't know who Fugitoid is. So
I mean,
here's
if
his
you're
little
so-
short.
if you're
I picked it up. I picked it up specifically because I remember the old Fugitoid from the Mirage comics. Like that's like
Yeah.
one of the only issues I had from the Mirage comics. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna get this just because of that.
Yeah, the thing is, I remember them talking about Fugitoid. I couldn't really remember him. So.
I mean,
this is a good
if your
story.
sole exposure to turtles is the '80s cartoon, you are not going to know the Fugitoid.
Yes. Yeah.
He never
So-
showed up in the cartoon, did he? That's one of the
No,
characters.
bafflingly, like it's one of the only
Yeah.
things that never made the leap was.
And it would
Fugitoid.
make sense with the whole crane and Dimension X and all that stuff. It would make perfect
But they
sense.
did make a toy out of him, funnily enough. But
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, see, that's what this is about. It's
Mhm.
about this other alien race dealing with Krang and his little goons. How they're building these weapons of mass destructions that are robots that could form into pretty much any other being, along with fibers, so they could put on clothes as well. And unfortunately, there's no turtles except for like one panel in this whole comic. It's basically about this other alien race fighting for their lives, basically. And
but
Krang is
you
taking
have
over.
to tell everybody who the other alien race is too.
It's doesn't it really say who it is?
It's the
but they
neutrinos.
almost-
It's the neutrinos from the '80s
Oh,
cartoon.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. That's. But I don't think they
Fold
ever
in a
said
lot
it
of
in-
lore into this
Yeah.
because you've got.
And so-
we're probably not going to spoil the big twist that comes at the end of the thing, but
Yeah, I haven't read it yet, so don't spoil the
Okay,
big
okay.
twist.
I'm not spoiling that. I'm not spoiling that because when I that page, I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
there's a lot of Mirage lore and '80s cartoon lore and IDW lore all rolled up very nicely in this one.
Yes, and I highly recommend this because of the twist at the end. You're just like, oh damn, things are gonna get serious now. So, the twist is basically the last.
we don't want to tell him, right?
Oh no, I'm just saying
Okay.
the twist takes like the last 5 pages. So, you just go ahead and read it. If you never read a turtle comic, it's just a fun comic just about an alien race trying to survive. So
I
highly-
really like the micro series. I think that's kind of a cool way to get like an additional turtle story that maybe not is a major part of the chapter. It's just kind of like a little story or something that may tie back into the regular book later on. It's kind of a cool way to do it. I kind of wish they would do something like that with Transformers. Like, not
Yeah.
every issue, More Than Meets the Eye would be important, but maybe a More Than Meets the Eye micro book?
You know, maybe
Well,
they could
kinda
call
do that
it
with Spotlights.
Spotlight? Yeah.
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 I mean, they did
Mm.
that for a while, but then they quit doing them. I'd be up for that again if they wanted to do something like that.
My problem is with this, they didn't have a preview for the next micro series Spotlight in here. So I'm like, What? They better start because I really enjoy the micro series. If not even more than the ongoing, just
I don't
because
remember
you get
seeing
to.
any solicited yet.
I know that's the thing. I'm just like, what? Oh, you
But it's
can't
like,
stop
well,
this.
who's left? They've done the 4 Turtles, they've done Casey,
They
they've done
still
April,
have
they've
not
done
done
Splinter.
Shredder.
Everybody's,
They still have-
everybody went, oh, whenever they announced they were going to do the Fugitoid of all things. So Shredder's about the only thing you've got left.
But it's Fugitoid, for God's sakes! What's wrong with the Fugitoid?
Nothing. I'm just like,
It's not what you would
appeared
expect,
before
you
now,
know.
and
Yeah.
Yeah, they could still do Shredder.
I'm waiting
they could still
for,
do Krang. And they could
micro
do
series,
Masters.
micro series Old Hob. They need to do that one. That'd be a good
Wow.
one. Yeah.
I want micro
Or-
series Wingnut and Screw Loose.
Micro series Rocksteady and Bebop.
That's
Boom.
the same
There you go.
Yeah.
Boom. I want that.
Yeah, and yeah, I could see them. I just wanted to go on like with the money. How about the Mousers? They could have
Oh,
micro
God.
series Mousers.
It'd be a totally silent issue except for like the noise that the Mousers make when they're chomping on. That would be
similar
awesome.
it could be like similar to Mars Attacks, because when I read Mars Attacks, they just have like little symbols of how the Martians talk. It could be like that for the Mousers. No, this is an awesome story. Really, really, really good. Go read it.
Cool.
But you need to read it tonight.
Yeah, I'm gonna read it. It's like the only book I got left to read. I just didn't get to it.
See, I didn't get to my Animal Man, and I'm sad about that. But, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So those are my 2.
Those are okay. Good deal. All right. Let's see if I can do this. Okay. Starting off with Silk Spectre. This is the Silk Spectre. There we go. So the first part of this is a great. I mean, this is a. The great thing about this is not so much the beginning of this issue. I mean, there's a really interesting psychedelic sort of acid trip beginning to this that Laurie goes through, and kind of leading her back around. But I don't know how to say this without spoiling it, and I'll spoil it just because it's too damned awesome not to. Sally finally gets tired of not knowing where Laurie is, and she originally asked Mason to track down Laurie, and he kind of was like, "Oh, she sent me a letter. It's all cool. Just whatever.
just give her space.
Just give her space." And, and Sally's like, no. And if you're not gonna do it, then I know somebody who will. Who could it be? Which we had mentioned that something bad would probably happen to the boyfriend at some point. And it did. By way of the comedian. And we basically told the kid, he's like, look, either I'm gonna kill you, or you're gonna write this letter and tell Laurie that you're going to Vietnam, and then you're going to Vietnam. And he's like, but I don't want to go to Vietnam. He's like, well, you can die then. I'll write the letter. And so there's a whole other exchange in this, but the best part is the end, where the comedian comes into Laurie's room when she's asleep to leave the letter from her boyfriend. And there's a pivotal moment. That part I'm not going to tell you what happened, but I am going to tell you that there's a pivotal moment that ends up being an awesome piece of backstory that connects to everything else from sort of this point in history forward into Watchmen, and damned if it isn't a cool way to do it.
So we're all in agreement then. We all agree that the comedian is being handled much better in the Minutemen and Silk Spectre than he is in his actual book.
Fuck yes.
I'm not exactly sure what you think you're seeing there, though. I think I might be reading that scene differently than you are.
Are you talking about the object?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm seeing that's where he gets it from that point
No,
forward.
I'm seeing that he's just looking at that and going, smiling and going, "That's my girl." I'm not seeing him as taking that.
No, I'm seeing him as taking it and putting it on, and like that's what he wears.
Well, this is what 60.
This is the first time we're seeing him.
No,
between
but what year is this set in?
60. This is pre. Well, you know it's before Vietnam because his face isn't scarred.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Yep.
Kennedy. This is after Kennedy dies, though.
Look, I'm not talking about that other
I'm just saying.
shit book. I'm
I-
talking
I
about like
really
this.
I really didn't interpret this as him taking that and
Well,
making it his own.
yeah, you don't see what he does with it.
Yeah, all I'm seeing is him looking at it and smiling at it because of the ironic coincidence.
I don't think. See, that's not how. I don't know. And yeah,
You can infer what you want.
I think you
from
can
it.
infer what you want, but
Yeah,
I think.
yes, but,
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're talking about, I mean, we've talked about how there's some things that are all over the place on these books, and
But what's
So-
really awesome about the book is he shows up and tells her boyfriend to get the fuck out.
that is kind of awesome. But I like that moment. and I'm-
Without directly saying that he is her dad, he is her dad, and he told the boyfriend to get away or I'm going to shoot you with a shotgun.
Yeah.
That's
Although,
awesome.
no, I suppose actually looking at the last page, it is gone when she goes to pick the letter.
yeah, it's gone.
Yeah,
That's
it
what
is
I'm
gone,
saying. He
yeah.
takes it with him. So that's why
Maybe
I'm.
that's true then. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Fuck the other book. Screw the other book. I mean, I'm about to mention why DC editorial is screwed up and one of the things they're doing wrong. So, as far as, that goes between the books, I don't care about that whole 63, whatever he was supposed to have in his own book. Anyway, that's good stuff. For that moment, you should read it alone. Okay, let's talk about Earth 2. And I mean both Earth 2-ish books. So, the reason both World's Finest and Earth 2, I think are worth a read if you're reading, especially if you're reading both of those books, is it gives us a little bit of insight into the Earth 2 world. Now, there's a problem here. There's a big fucking problem here. Did anybody
What is the
read
problem?
both of these books?
I glanced
read
at them.
them-
I didn't.
Okay.
Yeah, I read both of them. Is the problem with World's Finest? Because I liked World's Finest.
No. The problem is something that happens internally, which is that, again, here's we talked about, like, on Marvel, like, they have Steve Wacker doing editorial for all the stuff that's happening in New York. That's brilliant, right? Because then you've got consistent editorial across all of those books so that they can say, no, this needs to tie into this other thing. These books have two completely different editors. Therefore, there's internal consistencies between the two books. So Earth 2, interesting story. Basically, what it boils down to is Terry Sloan, right? That is his name.
Yeah,
Huh.
Terry Sloan.
Terry
It's,
Sloan. If you don't know who that is, yeah, that's the original Mr. Terrific from
yes.
who would have been from Earth 2. Now, this is talking about, of course, Earth 2 is where all the fighting went on and the prolonged battle with Darkseid and Apocalypse. And Sloan here is sort of... He reminds me a lot of the way that they ended up doing... I don't know. I mean, he's basically sort of like... Well, I guess he's like an Ozymandias almost. Where it's like...
he's like the world's smartest man. I'm going to solve all the problems in the world. And
Yeah.
people may hate me if I do it, but I'll do it anyway.
Yeah, even if people have to die, that's what's going to happen. But he mentions he wears an 08 on his costume. That's of importance because he considers himself to be the sort of eighth wonder because he goes through and specifically names that it's Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Robin, Supergirl, there's Catwoman, and there's somebody else I keep forgetting that's in that set.
But didn't he
Catwoman's
say
important.
he didn't talk about one person or something?
Yes, there's one person he hasn't mentioned. So there's
One
another.
person doesn't mention.
Yeah, there's one person that he doesn't mention for some reason. I don't know specifically who that's going to be. But he considers himself to be the eighth, so that's why he wears the 08 on his sort of armor suit or whatever. That'll be important in a minute. So remember that. group of people.
Okay. Right.
Anyway, and interesting story. He ends up sort of double-ish crossing them, but he supposedly has a plan. There's an awesome part where he pulls a piece of glass out of his face.
Wow.
There's the end of the book is awesome because he unleashes several explosions over the Earth, and it basically makes Earth look like Apocalypse. Okay. Now, awesome read. Good stuff. I'm interested in where that's going to go because we know that the new Mr. Terrific is now on Earth too, and if Terry Sloan is still there as well, that is going to be interesting. So I'm excited where that's going. World's Finest. Now, here's a great story about the origin of these two sort of joining the fight. You have Robin on like one of her first outings on her own, talking about being trained by her mom, Catwoman, and sort of still living under her father's shadow who doesn't want her going out and fighting. And then Supergirl, who's sort of being kept as a secret to the rest of the world because, you know, Superman's sort of the public eye, well known, and she's not, and so he wants to kind of keep her as like an ace in the hole.
He's overprotective of her too.
And he's overprotective of her too as well.
That's a classic Golden Age thing with it. Superman kept
Sure.
Silver Age thing that Superman kept Supergirl a secret for a while.
Yeah, so it's great. I mean, so great ties in. This is where it goes wonky. So Robin's kept out of the fight until this one time when her mom dies, and then Supergirl shows up, and then they team up, and now they're gonna fight.
Their first team up is basically
Their first team up.
Yeah.
Their first team up is when Catwoman dies.
Right.
Now wait a minute. In Earth 2, Supergirl and Robin and Catwoman are part of the 8 Wonders that all fought together to fight Darkseid.
Aha.
But isn't her mom Huntress in World's Finest?
No,
No, she is Huntress.
she is Huntress. Robin is
She becomes
Huntress.
Yeah, her mom is
No.
Catwoman.
But wasn't she wearing the Huntress outfit?
No,
She doesn't wear the Huntress outfit till she comes to our Earth.
right.
No,
She's Robin on Earth.
You're talking about Catwoman.
What was Huntress's mom dressed as? I only skimmed the issue. I thought Huntress's mom was dressed as...
No, it's just an
Where?
alternate.
Catwoman has like a different costume.
It's just an
got a
alternate
different design.
Catwoman costume. Yeah.
Fair enough. I
Yeah.
thought it looked more it looked very Huntress.
If you
It
just
does,
looked at it,
I
yeah,
mean-
you might think it is Huntress because it kind of looks like it, but no, that's Catwoman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I did not catch that when I read those.
oh,
I'm glad you
dude,
brought
it stuck
that.
out like a sore thumb to me because I'm like, you've just established this mythology where there's like the 8 Wonders of the world and all of them teamed up, and then in the whole other book, it completely contradicts that idea, and says that Catwoman is dead. It's a simple thing, but man, is that? I mean, and it kind of goes back to me. It's like here's the exact. You know, again, we're not saying Rob Liefeld's wrong because I think that's a perfect example of you know where some of the editorial is going wrong. You've got 2 books which are linked to the same world. Why isn't there more communication between these books to make sure that an important point like that is cleared up and established? Because now, I mean, let's talk about it. You've already got a huge...
Did they specifically say that Supergirl has never been on a mission? I don't
Yes.
remember if they actually said that.
Yeah.
Well, she mentions like the whole reason she showed up was there are like certain calls and like when like Bruce or something is in danger, that's one of the calls that she shows up for.
Right.
And I think
But
that's so it makes me think like, oh, maybe she has shown up before, but she's never actually met Robin. Maybe
But
she's
but at
been
least
part
that
of it.
But at that point, they haven't fought any of the stuff with Darkseid yet. I mean, Robin just had her first outing just to
Yeah.
fight crime, not even to fight Darkseid.
Maybe
Well,
maybe
they
maybe her
don't
mom turned out to be
Darkseid.
alive after all.
They have been fighting Darkseid because he
Well-
does say whoever this Darkseid is, he knows too much about us, at least too much about me. He mentions it in the issue.
I would
So-
believe that if this wasn't a Zero issue. So it being a Zero issue, it would seem that... And she was dead. I mean, there's blood and guts everywhere. I mean,
Maybe she got better.
No, they say she's dead. I think.
No,
They say
Maybe then she wasn't.
Yeah, Batman says she's gone. She thought it was a trafficking ring, but their weapon, I didn't get there in time.
yeah, there were
And then
lots of
Robin
guns.
says, "Go gently, Mom. Let me go, Dad." So, like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I did look at it, but maybe they were just wrong. They're not professionals.
Batman's not a professional. But anyway, I think. I mean,
I would not be surprised if they actually go back and like, oh yeah, she didn't die, and they had a couple more adventures, and like the Joker killed her or something like that. You know.
are you gonna? I guess I don't want to go on too long. Are you gonna mention action at least, or no?
I'll bring up action. Yeah.
Okay, good. I'll let you do that. I'll only leave off and say Phantom Stranger. Half of it you've read, half of it you haven't. Whether you like it or not, you should read it just for the pure like what?
I saying like half of it you read and half of it you haven't, and half of it you might not like. Is that what you're saying?
Basically, half of it you read if you read the Justice League Free Comic Book Day book. It's just that it's the story of the three sins, being punished or whatever.
I don't inherently disagree with giving the Phantom Stranger a backstory and a through line, which this does. I mean, I don't inherently object to that, even though I know the character's entire shtick has been for long he's existed for. I've never cared about him, and I don't particularly object to giving him a backstory. But by Christ, and I don't even particularly object to this being his backstory. What I object to is the excrement that is the script of this comic.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
I mean, my God. I mean, I skimmed this and I thought that doesn't seem too bad. And then I read this and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan. Yeah, it's yeah.
Like that, I was gonna pick up Phantom Stranger, but now that you're talking about it,
Just don't read it. Just look at it.
Okay.
Just read
Very
the
nice
picture.
art.
Just read the picture panels and you'll be fine. Just really, because it's an interesting story, but
Just acknowledge its existence, but just don't pay attention to it.
I mean, let's just say it's a completely left field introduction of a character to the New 52 is the only thing that I'll give it. And it was like it was totally one of those deals where I read it and we got to a point and you're like, oh well, that's so and so. I wonder if they're gonna. Oh, they are. Oh well, that was
Like that?
That was uneventful completely. That was
The yardstick of the terrible fullness of the writing is
If you
the
don't
way
want to
that
spoil it, tell me after the show because
this isn't even
Oh.
spoilers, so this is
I'll
like,
tell
if
you.
you
Yeah, we'll
read
tell you at
the-
the show.
If you read the Free Comic Book Day thing, you'll have known.
Yeah,
You'll figure
read
out that the Phantom Stranger is Judas.
Yeah, and
Judas.
they make that
Yep.
way
You know.
clear in this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but Dan Didio thinks he's being subtle and mysterious about it.
Not at all.
Yeah, but no, I mean, you read that little bio of the Phantom Stranger on the very last page. Read it out to us, JD. Read out that little bit of the bio.
Which one?
The very at the very end of the comic, the little who's who thing they've got on the Phantom Stranger in there.
Oh, let's see here.
Here's the first
What
little
little is known about the Phantom Stranger remains rumor and conjecture. His true identity forever unknown. It is said that the stranger committed a great evil.
You can just stop there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. You're not being mysterious and vague and leaving it open to conjecture who the Phantom Stranger actually is, Dan Didio. You've turned Judas Iscariot into a superhero. Okay, whatever.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Just don't. It's indicative of like the quality he thinks he's putting out versus what he actually is.
Yeah.
Like the exchange between Corrigan and his boss, or when the Phantom Stranger turns Jesus' robe into his trench coat. That's what the Phantom Stranger's trench coat's made out. It's made out of Jesus' robe.
Yeah.
Oh my
And
gosh.
you know how he knows it's Jesus' robe, and how he tells the reading audience that it's Jesus' robe, is when he picks up the robe and says, "This robe is made of the humblest of fabrics."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was actual dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this whole it's bizarre. I mean,
I don't inherently object to giving the stranger purpose. I really legitimately don't.
Maybe it would be better if you read it and the Phantom Stranger's voice sounded like Kevin Conroy, because I liked him as the Phantom Stranger.
That would merely diminish Kevin Conroy.
yeah, it really isn't.
Okay.
I'm serious. This is a book, like, I mean, Chris McFeely is absolutely right. Pick this book up and don't read any of the dialogue. Just go page by page. I mean, seriously, I mean, the art is so painfully obvious that there won't be any doubt what is going on.
And yet, that does not
Okay.
prohibit Dan Didio from throwing 8-sentence long dialogue boxes at you multiple times per page.
Yes, exactly. Then you go back and actually read the dialogue, and you'll be like, oh, wow.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, why?
Yeah. Okay, anyway, I'm sorry. That's me. Let's move on then, Chris McFeely. You can talk about the stuff
Yeah.
that you actually wanted to discuss, which hopefully involves action,
good
because
things.
that was amazing. Okay.
Okay, let's talk about action very briefly.
Yeah.
Action Comics #0. I was a little curious about this one going into it because we know how Morrison works, we know how he writes, we know how he's got this 16-issue plan, and the 0 issues weren't part of that originally. So I looked at it and I was wondering, this is going to be an additional thing here. I'm not sure how tightly this is going to be wound in with everything else he has going on. And it's not particularly. It is just an early story of how it shows you how Clark meets Jimmy, and through Jimmy how he meets Lois and where he gets his T-shirts from. Even though we had that dealt with in a back.
But it's the actual place, because there was even the question. Like, that's what I mean. From the first page, I was like, "Oh, Grant," because I mean, there was even some question if like that was actually how he got his shirts, and yet you see it here, you know, from the actual place it is, and so it's just like, oh. We just filled that in. Awesome.
See, I didn't get that excited about it because it's that to me always felt like it was answering a question that annoyingly literal people who can't suspend their disbelief were asking on the internet.
Well, I mean, it's just
Where does he get the T-shirts from?
it's just a fun piece. I took it as a fun piece, but
that was the height of the explanation required, and I like the way the backup strip had fun with the idea. They managed to just do it vaguely and in a fun enough way that it doesn't belabor the whole thing.
oh no. Yeah, it's like a page. It doesn't.
But so in the course of this first day out, Superman gets knocked off the roof of a building with an RPG, and a little kid comes upon him and takes his cape.
Man, that kid's a jerk.
He is.
Yeah, well, the issue
I
is
can't. Mine.
the boy who stole Superman's cape. But then it protects him from his abusive alcoholic father, stepfather. The cape.
Yeah,
is
I didn't know if like his cape actually was like super, because like wasn't that like an old kind of golden agey thing? Like if you got like Superman's costume or something, then you got like Superman powers or something crazy. Wasn't that something real?
The cape's Kryptonian fabric, at least that was his baby blankie. You know, depending on the version of the story, that the cape's the blanket he was wrapped in, so it's Kryptonian, so it's super powered.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like he punches the dude, and the dude's like vomiting blood. I was like, yeah, he's got like mini Superman powers.
Well, it's from the fabric, you know. It's like
it's
hitting him
super
with brass knuckles, you know.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I really enjoyed this little bit with Mrs. Nixley, and again, they managed to fold in all this really fun stuff. This is
okay
so
with that, JD?
this is stuff we didn't actually talk about when it was originally hinted at, because it was spoilers for that issue. But it was like an issue where I think it was last issue of Action. It turned out that Mrs. Nixley. Now, this is the ridiculous thing, okay, right? Because Mrs. Nixley in this issue mentions her nephew Ferlin. Ferlin Nixley is a pre-existing Golden or Silver Age Superman character. Okay, first of all, I don't think his aunt is, but very, very early on in the course of Action, it crossed my mind. It didn't even cross my mind. It sort of just lightly tap danced its way across my mind and out the door, and I never thought about it again. What if Mrs. Nixley was Mr. Mixes Pitlick's significant other? And it turned out last issue that I was fucking right.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck yes, go me, yeah. And I like the way they're playing that. Morrison's had some fun with the fifth dimension before, over in Batman when he had Bat Knight appearing as a figment of imagination. But Nixley, she's not just like visiting from the fourth dimension or anything. Nixley is the fourth dimensional extrusion of the fifth dimensional Miscus Spintles's, who was, as I say, an old Mr. Mxyzptlk's better half, who appeared very, very rarely, I think, in the Golden Age. I think most people know her from when she appeared in an episode of the Superman cartoon, actually, the 90s cartoon. But we get all these veiled... the little man is not Mxyzptlk. We found that out last issue.
Mm-hmm.
He's another creature from the fifth dimension who has injured Mr. Mxyzptlk. And we get a little nod back to that here. We see Mr. Mxyzptlk's fourth dimensional self was a magician named Mystic Mr. Triple X.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it.
Yes, loved it. And she talks about how a rival magician messed with one of his tricks, and he's been on life support for 7 years. And nodding to that. And it was a thing about whenever we'd confirmed before that last issue came out, we'd confirmed that Morrison was only going on to 16, and I was saying to myself, well, it doesn't feel like we're moving towards an end game at all here. I wonder how that's going to go down. And then that issue came out, and I was like, oh snap! Hold on. Yes, we did. Suddenly everything fell into place. And then about all the exciting things, really. Superman saves the kid from when he gets caught on a railway line, and it's like Morrison's done it more than once. Whenever Superman makes his debut, he really is. He always does. They never actually like shout it out or anything. But they make the visual reference or the storytelling reference that he is faster than a speeding bullet, or in this case, he is more powerful than a locomotive.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I really love it.
It's awesome.
Yep.
I love that. And the kid's like, I only borrowed it. That's a great image. I would buy that as a poster.
Yeah, that is actually a really great image.
Yeah.
And then it's a story of how Lois names him Superman, basically.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of nice little moments in a fairly inconsequential but sweet story that you can sort of tell wasn't part of the 16-issue plan, but manages to be quite enjoyable anyway. And the backup is cool too.
Oh yeah.
In which a young man goes out to the Blake farm. Where Captain Comet, because that was all that goes and meets the young version of Captain Comet, Adam Blake, who was the villain, air quotes, of the last 2 issues. And it turns out there's just a very neat twist of the identity of this kid at the very end, which you will need to have been paying attention to Action Comics closely in order to pick up on, which I won't spoil.
What about his professor though?
That is probably a real thing. But I haven't looked it up.
Yes, it is. He was the professor that discovered Blake's powers in the Golden Age. Emery Zackrow.
I didn't bother to look it up. I just pretty much just assumed that it was a thing, and
yeah, Emery Zackrow was the original Comet's professor, and discovered his powers and stuff.
Yeah. So this follows up on his research, goes out to check it out, meets Adam Blake, and vows to further investigate mankind's potential to evolve. And it turns out he's somebody you know, but I'm not telling you.
It's awesome. It was a great backup. I mean, it was like,
The action backups are always good, though.
Yeah.
I really think Sholey Fish is going to take over writing this series after Morrison leaves, and it's enough to maybe make me think twice about not dropping it after Morrison takes it over, because Fish has done consistently good jobs with the backups, and he's writing the annual as well this year.
Ooh, so
yeah.
So
I really feel like they're probably missing a trick if they don't put him on it, but no, they'll probably put Keith Giffen on it. Something. Rob Liefeld probably take it over if he hadn't been fired.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Another issue zero I read this week was Dial H as well.
Yes.
I put
Which
this one
was,
back. I should have picked this one up probably, huh?
It was interesting. I was like, ooh.
the story here is
Like I
called
said, I had to sacrifice things so I could get my Thanos quest. Sorry.
Thanos Quest is worth owning. But this story is called Sundial H for Hero, and it's set in Babylonian times, where we meet, I'm not sure how you pronounce Laudice, Laudice. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know.
They sound perfect.
Let
Just
that
keep on
be.
saying that.
Yeah. Anyway, this woman who uses the powers of a Babylonian version of the dial, which is like a large sundial, to transform herself and defend against the invading mythological monstrosity that has awoken for some reason or another. Now she guides her land to peace with the power of the dial. But more interest, and it's a perfectly good single issue. Frankly, I could have read a few more issues about this character and everything else. But one massively key bit of information about how the dials work that was hinted at in the last issue of Dial H for Hero is established as fact in this, which broadens the scope massively and calls into question just like where on earth these stories could go afterwards. You are really left to wonder, because let's just say that when Laudice uses the dial, she transforms into Bumper Carla,
Yes.
who is like a very stereotypical flamboyant Latina. I'm trying to think of a descriptor, but I can't come up with one. But with a domino mask and big pompadour hair and frilly shirt and flowers in her hair and everything, riding like a super electrically powered bumper car that shoots lightning and stuff, And you think, that's a little anachronistic for Babylonian times.
Yeah. Yeah, I was really waiting. I was like, well, what's going to be, because that's your thought at first. It's going to be something for the time, and then it wasn't. And I was like,
no, time is not the issue here. The functioning of the dial and where the superhero identities that users of the dial are transformed into. These were hinted at in the previous issue with a brief look at Boy Chimney and that other gang of superheroes who all represented parts of houses fighting something. We had a brief flash to that. And that issue expands more on it. So even an issue that comes at a very bad time, if we're honest, because it's like some of the number 0 issues are coming at a good time after a major arc has just ended, and most of them are, because most of them are coming after issue number 12, and most things have managed to end their stories just as number 12 has come around. But
it seems like a lot of the ones I read, they're in the middle of the 13 seems to be an ender. And then they're like, come back in 13 to find out what happens to our hero or something. Because I read 3 that said that today when I was reading through them.
mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, Dial H this is just completely randomly dropped in the in between parts 4 and 5 of a story. Just
Right.
unapologetically thrown in there. That's one of the downsides of 0 month. But even in the process, manages to expand upon the story in a nice chronological sense as far as the information we are being given goes. And when the dial is activated, there's a rapid cycle through characters before it settles on Bumper Girl, and we don't even see them all, but with Dead Hood, Arrow Maid, the Needler, Power Squirrel, Nuclear Punch, Bumper Carla!
Bumper. I just love that.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome.
Wait, is it better than the Iron Snail, though? That's still my favorite.
God.
So Dial H continues, and that actually you could really, I mean, I don't know how much this is going to be true of a lot of the number 0s, but you could really pick Dial H number 0 up. And if you haven't picked Dial H up yet, you really should.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
I'm one of those losers that's not reading the book because I don't have enough money to buy the.
Damn.
Well, if
It's
it's not a monetary thing and it's just a willful and stubbornness thing and you haven't picked it up yet, number 0 you really can check out, and it sprinkles just enough nuggets of greater story in there that there'd be something wrong with you, I think, if it doesn't intrigue you enough to want to come back to check out some more of the story.
Yeah.
Something that also has me jumping for the next part of a story was Mighty Thor number 19, the next part of Everything Burns.
Yep.
over with Journey into Mystery. Not much to say about the main story itself, just the continuing thing. But what I have since found out is at the end of each part of Everything Burns so far, there's one entirely black page with just a little bit of text in the very middle, which seems to like denote like an epilogue to the comic or whatever. I didn't quite get it in the first part because this was still the same scene. It just jumped to a second later in the same scene. This one switches scenes over. But what I found out the trick is these epilogues, these last couple of pages in each issue, are written by the writer of the next comic. So Matt Fraction writes 18 pages of Thor, but Kieran Gillen writes the last 2 pages. And then Kieran Gillen will write the 18 pages of the next issue of Journey into Mystery, and Matt Fraction will write the last 2 pages of that to lead into each writer's subsequent next own comic. And suffice it to say, the last page. What?
Exactly.
I can't tell you what.
Wait,
what.
am I supposed to be picking this one up? Is this because it goes with Journey to
It goes
Mystery?
with Journey. You should pick this up. Yes.
Oh, great, you know, I need to add another one to my list.
Everything about Everything Burns indicates that it's a Journey into Mystery story that simply is so big in scope that Thor can't not be in it. There's really nothing in it that has grown out of anything that's happened in the Thor comic. This is all a product of everything that has gone on in Journey into Mystery, and it's just that because Surtur is in it, which comes right out of the first arc of Journey into Mystery, you basically can't not have Thor be part of it. Surtur's scheme is just so big that Thor gets pulled into the gravity of it, and so the crossover. But really, it is just an extended Journey into Mystery story with a last page that did what?
Yeah.
This
Like
comes
I can imagine people reading Thor, if they saw that last page, wouldn't know what to think. They were like, "Who? What?"
Bastard
But,
clue.
but people reading Journey into Mystery are going to be like, "What the hell?
What
Oh my
the
god!"
hell? Like I was left staring at the comic for like
Dang
2
it! Now
minutes.
I gotta go pick this up. I'll have to go.
You do, yeah.
Yes.
Because
Dang it!
this is all a product of story beats that have happened in Journey very recently. It's a very sudden and surprising reversal of something that happened in Journey recently, but not a straight reversal because what? There's no way to explain it without spoiling it, but if you're reading Journey and you think you're being high and mighty by not picking up the crossover chapters, you're going to be confused.
I was thinking it was going to be somebody else. Like when that mask came off, I don't know what, but you know what I was thinking it was going to be. I don't want to say who because I don't want to spoil anything, but I didn't think it was going to be this character.
No.
Yeah.
Because, no. But.
No.
What?
Yeah. Exactly. What?
Yeah.
Cool.
And to round myself out now, I'd just like to perform a reading of Autumn Mists by the Bard Topaz, courtesy of the Muppets. Number
Oh
3.
God.
Nice. So imagine, if you will, a little terrible Scottish Muppet with a poetry book. Autumn Mists. 'Twas in the year 1883, which was a most terrible year, I think you'll agree, that Glasgow town was filled with autumn mists, and those who walked the streets in tight shoes got blissed. Ours. The mists did rise up over your head, and Mrs. McTavish did nearly set fire to her bed. Not because of the mists, you understand, but because she dropped her pipe, the lighting of which indoors has since been banned. No one knows from where those autumn mists came. Some say they were mists in aught but name, and were actually dry ice from a heavy metal jamboree, which sounds like a most unlikely explanation to me. The mists would most stubbornly refuse to go away. Whether this is a bad thing, I couldn't possibly say. The mists of 83 are a subject upon which folk still talk. I'll now read 17 more verses. The autumn.
Okay. Awesome.
Rather.
And that's it? You're done?
Yes, that's me, and that's me.
Okay, and that's it. Okay. All right.
The issues of the Muppets so far rather made me laugh the hardest.
That's
You have
awesome.
to imagine character being grabbed by a giant comedy hook and dragged off stage at the very end there.
Ah, gotcha. Okay. Very cool. All right. That brings us then,
Love it. Love it.
as we're low on time. So I'll quickly go through. I want to talk about this issue. We're going to talk about Green Lantern Zero as our end of the show talk, because amazingly we all read it for some reason. But this is the introduction of our newest, I guess, Green Lantern, Boz. If you couldn't tell...
Did you guys read Daniel? Did you guys read Daniel?
No.
Okay, like, if you didn't read Daniel, then maybe some of this wouldn't make any sense to you.
It probably won't, but some might.
Yeah. Okay.
But I'm more
I'm
talking...
just saying.
It might. And you can fill in the blanks for us if you would like.
Okay.
So, let's run through the story
that
here
works.
real quick. Starts out in September 11th, 2001. And his family, he's a young boy, sitting there watching, his family is watching the TV as the towers fall. 1 day later, we can see that the Islamic Center there in Dearborn, Michigan, where they live, has been defaced. And I can't tell what the white people are unhappy about, but they're unhappy looking. Anyway.
They're unhappy that they're Muslims.
Well, that's what I can't tell, though. It's like, I can't tell if they're unhappy that someone defaced it, or they're unhappy that there's Muslims.
They're giving the
would
Muslims dirty
assume-
looks for being Muslims.
Okay, so that's what I kind of thought, but it's not
Muslims, you know?
totally clear. But anyway. And then 5 years later, kids getting into fights. 10 years later, Boz is getting the shakedown at airports because we're supposed to say he's Muslim. In the present day, he's driving a van with a bomb in it and being chased by the police.
Muslim. Oh, wait, no.
Oh, wait, no, that's not because he's Muslim. But anyway, somehow he's stolen a van that had a bomb in it because he's got really bad luck, apparently. And he leaves a message, I guess, for his family, or I guess what he says, his brother, I guess, or something. Or his sister. He's leaving a message for his sister and saying that he didn't do it. We're not really clear what that is, other than the bomb. But he leaves the police on a chase, which, how fast can a van go, really? But anyway, I digress. Anyway, he drives it into a factory, jumps out of the van, and the factory explodes, and he's arrested. He gets the shakedown at, assuming that's supposed to be Guantanamo. But that would seem to be the implication. So he's being, interrogated by the feds. He tells them he stole the van, it had a bomb in it, he didn't mean to blow anything up. They, of course, think he's a terrorist because he's Muslim. No other particular reason. Because that's how, this is, okay, anyway, we'll talk about it in a second. So,
this is an event of errors.
It would seem, yeah. And so he won't talk, he won't give them the information they want, so they decide to waterboard him.
I heard about that on the news. They do that, people. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm up
We're
on current.
we're getting there. That's why I'm trying to get through this, because I want to talk about elements of the story as we go there. Anyway, so they decide to waterboard him. He fights back, and just at that moment, a Green Lantern ring comes flying through the air and says, "You have ability to overcome great fear," and he gets apparently very painful Green Lantern powers and is flown off. And meanwhile, I guess that's Amanda Waller, isn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
She's wanting
Amanda.
to keep tabs on him. The League is like, WTF? Where's GL? We don't know. There's this whole Third Army thing going on. We see Boz crashed out with a message waiting. And somewhere in the darkness is Hal Jordan and Sinestro.
So, do you know where Sinestro and Hal Jordan are?
No, where are they?
They're dead.
Cool. Even better.
Green Lantern Annual #1. Spoilers for that comic.
Okay.
It came out last week, which apparently nobody else read, which leads right into this.
I read it after the show last week.
So, they were fighting Black Hand, and I can't remember exactly if it was... No, it wasn't. It was the Guardians. Yeah, the Guardians took control over Black Hand, and they murdered Hal Jordan and Sinestro, but their reigns got away, and that's why the ring says error in this, because it's Hal Jordan's ring. It's like Sinestro and Hal Jordan's ring merged or something. And
Well, they had the same ring.
Well, that happened in the Green Lantern concern was
Yeah.
that they had to kind of construct other green rings. Remember, because all those people were being held
Yeah.
captive, so they construct all those other green rings.
Yeah.
Hal
So
Yeah.
is a construct of Sinistro's.
Right. Hal has Sinestro has Hal's ring, and then Sinestro made rings
construct,
for
for
Hal.
Hal,
Yes.
yeah.
And so now they're dead.
They did, but they did something where I think like Hal's ring became like a real ring or something. I don't know. A lot of
Yeah,
stuff's
something.
happened in
Yeah,
Green Lantern lately. They did something where like he now has full control of that ring. It's not he's not a puppet of Sinestro anymore. But yeah, the Guardians initiated their plan. You know, this whole Third Army thing. They
Right.
they retrieved this thing. They don't really explain what it is, but it's
The
this
first
thing that's
lantern.
the first lantern, yeah, and you don't really quite see what it is, and it's going to power them, and it gave them the power to basically set their goals into motion. And one of those is to eliminate the troublemaker, Hal Jordan.
Sure.
You got to get them, and yeah, they're dead. They are dead. In fact, they even alluded to something at one point where they said that Black Hand found out that Hal Jordan would be the greatest of the Black Lanterns. This is like just all foreshadowing to whatever the hell's going to happen with this. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So let's talk about this issue.
Yeah, that ring is probably Hal's and Sinestro's ring something, and that's why it says error. This is
Yeah.
why I wanted to explain that part at least.
Yeah, that's fine. Cool. All right. So, first page, fine. Okay, whatever. Second page, fine. Cool. Whatever. Yes, we get it. He's shakedown because he's Muslim. Okay, fine. Comedy of errors, right, with the bomb and stuff. That's all fine and good. And okay, I get it. The part where this comes off the rails for me as part of his story is where he's arrested, considered to be a terrorist, taken to Guantanamo, and interrogated, and then even waterboarded. I get, okay, look, I get that America has a bad rap, because we have waterboarded people and stuff or whatever. But to be fair to the horrible people that have done that, the people that have been waterboarded have been people that are known, long-term, connected terrorists who we know have information. We just need them to tell it to us. They have a random person here that blew up a bomb. They could have done a 2-hour background check and realized this person has absolutely no connections. They have no verification. This guy has any information whatsoever. I'm not saying they wouldn't, ice his heels for a while and they wouldn't interrogate him. Sure. But the extent that's gone to in the rapid period of time in this comic is pure, just awful hyperbole pulling off of things that have been talked about in the news. And, it's just nonsense. It pulled me out of the story because instead of just having the character be an interesting character who has a legitimate background and heritage and just got caught off track or whatever, they've gone like way left field with it. It's like they've gone too far almost with it to the point of being unbelievable.
Is what the cultural subconscious interpretation of Muslims and their role in American pop culture is.
Yeah.
And Jeff Johns has said, Muslim terrorist, whatever. Couldn't just be a dude.
Couldn't just be a guy. Yeah.
You remember whenever we had Night Runner over in Batman, who was a French Muslim, and people were like, "Oh," but I don't think he had anything bad in his history.
No, I don't think so.
He was just a dude.
He was just a
remember.
guy.
I didn't read it, so I don't know.
Yeah, in fact, I have that backup. I just read Gates of Gotham, but I didn't read the actual backup for it.
But he's just a dude.
Yeah, it's just a guy.
And so it's the most. Actually, Short Pack, the webcomic, Walkies, Short Pack did a little strip on this. I think it was last week. I'm just gonna pull it up here because the simple distillation, I don't think I can say it any better than this thing actually said it. So let me just find the one quote because it seems so very disturbingly true to me. Where is it? Bear with me.
Yeah, while you're looking that up, I don't know. I mean, we don't know much about the character, and he's legitimately saying he's just stealing cars. But why does a Green Lantern have a gun? I don't care.
I don't know.
I don't care what they're supposed to be. Why does he have a real gun? I mean, if it would have been a construct gun,
Yeah.
I would have been a little bit better with it, you know. But the fact that
here's the
He
quote.
doesn't know
Here
how
it
to
is.
use the ring yet, you know. So
I don't know. He has a
Maybe-
costume.
Gun.
To make things.
He's making
Maybe he
his
just knows how to fly. Maybe it's like, oh, this ring makes me fly. I don't make things with this. I know
right.
how to make.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, here's the quote. I think many comic book readers have to be presented these things in ways they can understand. You know, first as an abhorrent stereotype, then after a while the harsh edges can slowly be shaved off. Introducing diversity into comic books is like slowly backing up a truck. It can be loud and obnoxious, but it kind of has to be done.
Wow.
I'm like, it's painful, and obviously it doesn't refer to every reader, but it refers to a disturbing percentage of them.
I mean, I guess I just wish it not so. You know, it's just like,
Well, I think we've said that on this show many times before.
Yeah.
It's like, wouldn't it be nice if when Miles Morales pulled that mask off for the first time, the reaction was not supposed to be, "Oh my God, Black
he's
Spider-Man!"
the Black Spider-Man. Yeah, it'd just be, oh my God, it's a new Spider-Man.
It's a new guy, not
Yeah.
Peter. Well, but the reaction is intended to be, "Ah, Black."
Well, and I think, I mean, for one, it tells how
It's like,
horribly.
you know, remember whenever we flagged up when it was revealed that Max Modell was gay casually in dialogue, and then the big thing was not made out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
continued to
Yeah.
not be a big thing. It's just continued to be just an aspect of the character, not, you
Yeah.
know, not a big, hey, look over here, Max is gay.
You know, and then you know, Muslim, Arab American Green Lantern, first page, 9/11. Really?
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 Really.
Really?
That's
Really?
what we have to go
Oh.
to.
Yeah, that's how we're doing this. Okay, right. Which all of that aside, it's actually not a bad comic. The guy feels kind of interesting as a character. I'd be interested to see more about him, exactly what is going on with him. It's interesting to have a character who is he's a car thief. I mean, that's his whole argument is he's a car thief, not a terrorist, you know. And it is annoying that the fact that he is Muslim, but that's the
You know, and
prism is all getting filtered through. But it's still, when you take that out of it, at the very least, it is an interesting starting place for the character. And there is more going on with his family that we don't actually know about there yet.
yeah.
And the guy seems like a pretty interesting character who I would be interested enough to read more about when it goes on. It's just there's an awful lot of
I tell
ugly,
you,
unpleasant trappings being
I tell you what,
all of this.
here's the deal. If this comic started with the page where with the page that says now, if the comic started there and you skipped over the waterboarding part, I would probably say that this was okay. Not great.
Yeah.
But okay. But the forced bit of this, like, you know, forced sort of 9/11 and all of that stuff, and combining it with, you know, every suspected terrorist gets waterboarded. Those two elements are the things that turn me off. And it's not that the waterboarding thing is not an aspect of the character. That's just that's a political commentary. And it's, you know, I mean, where you fall on whether or not terrorists should be, you know, interrogated in that way, I think that even most sensible people would agree that they don't do that to just anybody. You know, it's not like something that they
in
do
all
to
fairness, I
everybody.
think they're taking it all these to the extremes, so you feel more for the character.
But that's not. But you don't have to do that. Like I just felt for the character, just for the fact that the poor guy is sitting in Guantanamo getting interrogated for a misunderstanding. I feel far enough for him, not for the fact that they're like. I mean, it seems just so out of place to suddenly say, "Oh, we're gonna waterboard you. We don't know what you know, but we want to know it." Like what? You know,
I
even
don't know about you guys, but I feel like I want my $3 bet because it's called Green Lantern #0, and I don't see Ab and Sir anywhere in this damn issue.
Thanks, Chris. Bring it right back. around. So, what can you tell us about this Third Army thing, though? Because I am vaguely interested in what's going on with that.
The Third Army, one of the Third Army guys does show up at the end of the issue.
I
You
know,
see
you
like
see that.
the car headlights, and it's the page where it's got Batman and Cyborg talking about where's Green Lantern. You know, where's he doing? At the bottom of the page, that thing with the 3 fingers, that's that's a Third Army guy.
Right.
That's what the Guardians are creating with the power of this first lantern. I mean, that person. They took a person and turning them into that.
Wow.
Thing.
It's Hal
Yeah.
Jordan.
No, it's not Hal Jordan. Hal Jordan's dead.
Right, but they turned Hal Jordan into the Third Army.
No, Hal Jordan is dead.
Right, but
they
they
killed him.
They genetically modified him and turned him into the Third Army.
I don't know. He's dead.
Okay. I'm just making stuff up. Anyway.
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, overall, though, what did you think, Nicole? I mean,
Over the Green Lantern Zero, it's got my interest. I want to know who this is. I'm just sick of all the new lanterns having to be on Earth. Look, it's another
well-
Earth.
There's a whole friggin'
Oh.
sector out there, you know?
apparently there is no other interesting planets with brave people
That's the
in our
problem.
sector.
Your book is Green Lantern Corps, Nicole, not Green Lantern.
Right.
Green
Yeah.
Lantern Corps.
Yeah, if you read Green Lantern Corps, then you would. But no, yeah. I mean, really, our sector has to be filled with the biggest bunch of wusses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do we even
So we-
know any other planets in our sector?
So we've basically got what
Our-
5 lanterns from Earth out in the comics right now.
Hal Jordan is dead.
Hal
Like I
Jordan
keep
is
saying.
dead.
So
No, he
technically,
doesn't count anymore.
Die. You don't think they're not going to bring back Hal Jordan? Are you
And they're-
delusional?
And they're going to kill Kyle Rayner next, so you know, I'm just,
Yeah, Kyle Rayner is bound to die.
it's gonna happen.
It's going to happen,
are
Brian.
we back on that again?
It's happening, Brian.
Well, they actually said it in the issue that they're going after Kyle Rayner next. So
That's
yeah, I
right.
think that's gonna happen. Yeah.
And then
Wait,
Guy.
so there's 5 from Earth, yeah. So
Well,
I,
I mean, it's not like, I mean.
oh, I'm sorry,
no.
4 from Earth, 1 from Earth 2.
Well, Earth
Wait,
2
if
doesn't
I'm
count. That's not even a Green Lantern. That's not
Yeah.
a. That's not a Earth.
The universe.
Yeah, it's not an our Earth-ish. So anyway, there you go. Green Lantern Zero.
It's actually not bad.
It's not
just
bad.
got some
I'm not-
really,
Oh, it's
really
not.
bad trappings around
Yeah.
it. It's decent
Yeah,
character.
Like I
It's
said-
fun how it's a zero issue that is actually the next chronological issue of the comic as well.
Yeah,
It's
this would be
and
like
it's
issue
yeah.
13 or something if this was coming out. This would be like the next issue
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah.
And what an amazing coincidence that the chief creative officer of DC was able to shape his storyline around an event that other writers just had to completely put things
Huh.
on hold for. I wonder what a
That's,
coincidence. I wonder how he knew to do that.
Well, and it
Man.
coincided with some other issues. Starting point, like Phantom Stranger. Huh.
Yeah, wow. It's
Wow.
good.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Huh.
You wanna
Funny
talk
how that
bad
is.
comics.
Oh, DC. They've got to get their editorial shit together. I'm just.
They really
I mean,
do.
Rob Liefeld stormed out because he's a dick. But
Yeah.
I mean, I think even as some of this stuff, even some of the Zero issues and stuff that we talked about, I mean, totally typifies some of the editorial problems that are going on, over at DC. I mean, they've done some interesting things. They brought in a lot of readers. If they want to maintain that long term, though, they've really got to get editorial on track. They need to, like I said, I think Marvel's doing it right. They've got groupings of editors working on certain sets of books, like Spider-Man universe or stuff that's going on in New York is all together because Wacker's doing the edit on Hawkeye as well. So
So before we leave the whole zero issue thing, so overall, was this a good idea? I mean, I wasn't too into it, honestly. I mean, I liked Swamp Thing and I liked some of the issues, but overall, I would have much rather have just gotten the next issue, like 13.
I think it's one of those deals where it's just like the point ones, right?
Yeah.
It totally comes down to the writing team and if they can do it, if they can, the creative team, if they can, nail it. In my
Green
opinion.
Lantern was the only one that I read. I've picked up Animal Man, so I can't really make a judgment on it yet.
you know, like, well, yeah, and
I liked World's Finest until you told me like about the inconsistencies in the writing.
with Earth 2.
It's like, yeah, that's a good idea for number 0 because here's these characters never seen how they met, and then like number 0, okay, that makes sense. And then like Swamp Thing like is number 0. Here's the origin, but here's the origin where the rot was involved. That makes sense. But then like all the other 0 issues, I felt like, I mean, why couldn't this in 13? Why does this have to happen in a 0 issue or something?
Well, and I think it begs the question too. I mean, the whole point of all of this 52 was that you're starting from the beginning. We were supposed to start from the beginning. So why do we need 0 issues?
I know.
It's like
this is the kickoff of the new 52 for the next season.
Yeah, but that just seems like I mean, there again, it's like the whole point of a 0 issue in any series is to say, okay, this is the stuff that happened before the series. But this seems to be filling in really important stuff in some cases. I mean, not vital, but important things. Certainly in the terms of, I mean, especially like when it comes to Earth 2. Like there's an entire storyline where we haven't gotten much, about the sort of, the trio before, with the whole apocalypse.
Virtually nothing about their Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman, and that was cool because you got a little bit more of it, but you really didn't get much.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot.
I just spoiled myself on Animal Man. Oh my gosh, there's a good ending.
But no, I mean, some of it's good, some of it's not. Some of it's just a way to start a new series. I think it's just kind of.
I predict next September we'll get number half.
God.
Because you got to start off the next season of 52, so we would get number half, and eventually we're gonna get like what? What?
No.
We'll get 0.5s.
3/4 or something is what.
No, I predict they'll go to the future and they'll just skip all the way to 500.
Oh, you mean like the Images of Tomorrow, a la Image Comics, up to hit the 25? Yeah,
so,
DC should
skip over to
or DC
500.
1 million. Like
DC 1 million, DC 2099.
1,052,000.
1 million. Oh God.
I especially love when Image did their Images of Tomorrow for number 25, and some of those books got canceled before they got to number 25. That was awesome.
Chris McFeely stepped out for just a second, but I was going to say...
I do not know what the heck happened there. The computer just turned itself off.
Awesome.
My computer's been talking to you.
What do you think about the Zeros overall? That's kind of what we were discussing while you're gone, though. I mean,
we've only had 1 week of them so far. It seems like they're going to be a very mixed bag. Some are going to work very well where they fail. Some are going to work very well like the way Green Lantern does chronologically. Some are going to make a good job out of an unfortunate situation like here ILH did, and some are going to be Phantom Stranger.
Yeah. Which Phantom Stranger had no reason not to be good, since it's technically the first issue. Do you think... I mean, and one of the things I said to the others, and I'll mention real quick, and then we gotta really get out of here. But
I got one thing I need to talk about before we go.
Okay, well then you go ahead with. Well, I'll say this, but does it seem odd that we even have 0 issues? I mean, I thought the whole point of the New 52 was that we're starting at the beginning for these characters.
Yeah.
So, doesn't it seem a little counterintuitive that we have 0 issues to begin with?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, it's
to me,
further indicative of the screwed up editorial policies at the minute. It's like they weren't number 0. It's really just a lot. Some of the number 0s are. This is another example of how some of them will work well and some of them won't. Like Batgirl should be quite interesting. Yeah, finally getting the fucking ducks in a row with that character because they don't know what a lot of these things are going to exist to clarify confused continuity from what's supposed to carry over and what's not. Some of them will be completely, I would say, pretty much pointless, just little past. Like Detective number 0 was out this week and it was fine, but
But can we really count on that? I mean, again,
it was just young Bruce Wayne because Batman is untouched and still flowing on fine. We don't need.
I'm glad they didn't rewrite the origin. Like this time, it was like the Joker that killed his parents.
But I point again to like the Earth 2 books where they have conflicting backstory. I mean, are we really expecting that this is going to clarify those, or is it just going to cause more confusion?
Well, Earth 2 probably won't go back to it because that's about Justice Society now. And World's Finest won't go back to it because they're in, our world now.
Yeah.
So it'll probably, both will be forgotten. Like,
but I'm saying, like, if we have 2 books, literally 2 books, that have origins in the same world, and they can't keep those stories straight. What hope do we have that going into backstory for the other things are going to actually clarify and solidify a universe?
Maybe there was a second
is no-
Catwoman, JD.
Maybe.
The world cannot take more than one
Catwoman too.
catwalk.
But that's exactly the problem that this whole new 52 is supposed to clear up.
There's Catwoman.
Catwoman
Yeah.
2. God, I just read Kingdom Come for the first time, and I was going through the bio page, and it was like, I don't know, like
It turns out that
Dr.
second
Light
Catwoman
4.
is actually Halle Berry, by the way.
God.
Uh,
Anyway, I'm sorry. You said you had one more thing before we go.
Yeah,
'cause
one
we-
thing that I actually should have put in the news but forgot to talk about because I don't know if it's out in America this week, but Dredd was released in the UK this week.
Yeah, it's like another
Ours
2 weeks.
is like October or something.
No,
isn't it?
it's
like-
it's
right,
end of
you guys
September.
are
I
right,
thought it was the
good point.
25th, I think, or 20
Yeah.
something.
ours is like late. It's like later
Yeah.
or something.
Well,
Yeah.
it is a British character. It makes sense that it'd be out in the
ours
UK.
comes out, I think, at the end of the month.
Yeah.
But saw it, short review, it's brilliant.
Oh,
It
really?
is- oh God, yes. And you remember whenever we saw the trailer and I said it looked like it was proto Dredd, like it lived in not now, not today, but also not in the normal far future. It's really the near future where the two worlds are really overlapping on top of one another. Vehicles still have wheels, stuff like that.
Tell me that helmet never comes off. Tell me the
Not
helmet never
once.
comes off.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah, I heard that before. So like,
Yeah. It is unapologetically, gloriously ultra-violent. It earns that 18 certificate, Blackly comedic when it wants to be. Absolutely pitch-perfect portrayal of Dredd, who never speaks unless the situation warrants it, and when he does, 85% of it is sentence fragments or grunts. Just like totally the spirit, while the world is just like a sort of a near future and not quite what you'd expect from a normal Dredd story, the spirit is so bang on, so perfectly done. A lot of early reviews were drawing comparisons with things like Assault on Precinct 13 or
I heard Escape from New York.
Yeah, Escape from New York. Yeah, it's very like that. It's very like a sort of 70s, 80s exploitation.
Did John Carpenter direct this?
It is very John Carpenter-y, right down to the opening credits, which are just silent block impact titles going boom, boom, boom on the screen.
I cannot wait to see this.
The soundtrack.
I want to see this.
I already told my wife we're going. I already told Amanda. It's like, all right, we're going to go see that when it comes out.
The soundtrack is very bassy, but when the heavy bass tunes ease off, like the soundtrack underneath that is very Carpenter-y as well, like dun dun dun, stuff like that.
Tell me,
as I say,
tell me.
if you are averse to exploding brains and a bit of the old salty language, it's really not going to be for you. All the good, upstanding moral publications that review it will hate it for all the reasons that it is a perfectly successful Dredd film. The spirit is just so perfectly nailed. And if you're a big Dredd fan, I'm not, so I didn't get it. I saw one thing, but I know there are a bunch of Easter eggs and things hidden in it for comic fans to spot out as well. I only spot it personally.
Cool.
But if you Dredd well. It is a world where, as I say, it's not the normal crazy futuristic world, so there's not a lot of really advanced tech and stuff. He's still got his gun that does respond to voice commands and only can be fired by its holder, recognizes palm prints and everything, and there's a guy with cameras for eyes, but that's about as far as it gets you. Nothing quite on the level of Mean Machine or genetic engineering or anything like that. And it's almost like a prequel to Dredd, because the whole plot of the film is that he and rookie judge Cassandra Anderson, who is on her final examination, pass or fail to become a judge, they enter this mega block, which is the production and distribution facility for the entire Mega City 1 supply of slow-mo, a drug that causes the user's brains to feel like time is moving slowly. So you get a lot of slow-mo shots. I saw it in 2D, but I would actually say you should probably see it in 3.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go see it in 3D.
The slow-mo shots are all about 3D. You know, like one of the very first things that happens in the film is whenever a couple of stool pigeons are caught by the Mama is the name of the drug kingpin, and she has them thrown over the top balcony of the mega block after being dosed with slow-mo. So it's like the fall lasts hours for them heightened extra terror. You know, but you see things from their POV as everything comes slowly rushing up towards them. You know, in the 3D. There's just a shot of Mama herself while she's on the drug and she's having a bath, and she just like lazily, intoxicatedly just splashing water, and like you see it from her POV, and it's like it's hard to describe what it is. It's just constant 3D twinkling, a million droplets. I might see it again in 3D. To be honest, it was worth
Yes.
it. Is,
I'm glad you've got to see it because like I've been interested, but I didn't know if I was gonna actually go and see it. But that you like it is awesome. I think that's cool.
Was great.
Yeah.
It is. I enjoyed it.
Wait,
and
wait. Did you go see this with Jeff?
I did, yes.
How much
And
did he hate
Did
it?
you like it?
He really enjoyed it.
No. That's like Mikey liked it. God, man, if it's a movie he liked, then I must go see it.
I love that we live in a world where like the same guy that played like a pretty prominent character in Lord of the Rings, Dr. McCoy, also played Judge Dredd. That's just fantastic.
You know, I had a
You know?
that reminds me too. I had a moment where I was like trying to I was like, "Oh, and it's, you know, it's Carl Urban, you know." And
Yeah.
my wife's like, "Who?" I was like, "Well, he played that one guy in Lord of the Rings," and she kind of blankly shook her head. And I was like, "Well, he played Dr. McCoy in that new Star Trek movie," and she blankly shook her head. And I was like, "He's really cool."
He's a great Bones. I love him.
Oh, I do too.
The voice that he uses for Dredd is a little fake and a little Bale Batman-y, but it's really
gonna
okay
say,
because if
there's
there's
Bale
one guy in all the comics who should have that voice, it's Joe Dredd.
Wait, did he use the line "I am the law"?
Of course,
Oh.
he has it. I mean, it's in the trailer, so it's not
Yeah.
a spoiler. It does it over a PA.
Well,
To
you know,
all the
sometimes they cut
assembled-
that out. Sometimes they cut what's out in the trailer.
Oh
in
no,
the
that was. I
movies.
mean, he does it in a PA to all in the building. You know, he's addressing them as to the situation, and he says, "Mama's not the law. I'm the law."
Does he team up with Rob Schneider? I need to know this.
Oh God, where is Rob Schneider in this movie?
It's him and Cassandra. As I said, speaking of Anderson, another reason it feels like kind of like a proto Dredd, almost like a prequel to what the next Dredd movie might be. Whereas Stallone's movie tries to be the Dredd story and crams in a lot of lore and a lot of different characters together, and you know, even something from ABC Warriors, because that makes no sense, but it's from 2080. This just is a Dredd story. It's you know, if it's a story, it's the Anderson story probably, because it's her story of how she becomes a judge, and she seems to be like the first. There's no side division in the Justice Department. She looks like she could be the big. Cassandra Anderson is a psychic in the comics, and she's a psychic in this too. She gets psychic powers. And it looks like she could be the beginning of the psychic division, and it's a little bit prequely, a little bit proto Dreddy, you know, but. It's like Dredd's helmet never comes off when they come into the building. She's not brought her helmet with her, and I'm like, look at that. They leave the helmet off the pretty girl's head so you can look at her. And I won't judge the film for it ever. But then a couple of minutes later, as they're getting ready to make the bust, you know, Dredd goes, "Was wondering when you'd remember you'd left your helmet behind." And she says, "Sir, sometimes a helmet can interfere with my psychic powers, sir." I think a bullet might interfere with them more.
Awesome.
Yeah, so you know, very, very good. It's not going to be for everybody because it really earns that 18 certificate. There is skinnings and castrations.
I'm assuming it's R
Bodhi
here.
breedings and oh yes, God, yes. 18
Well,
over here. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because we have like NC-17, so that's why I say I assume it's R
well,
over here.
Well, it could even be that, to be honest. Could
Very.
even go that
You
far.
have to have like pornographic sex in a movie to get NC-17 here.
Well,
We don't care about heads blowing up, bodies blowing up.
Well, there's a lot of Vaseline on the lens, but there's some knockers flopping about.
Well, that's fine. I mean, what I'm saying is like you literally have to have like, and usually nude males, That will
No,
get you NC-17.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if NC-17 required like actual. I thought that was X.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, X is more for like porn.
Definitely gonna be an R, but I could almost see it.
It'll be R. I mean, really, it's hard to get any major motion picture almost doesn't do NC-17. I mean, if they are, they cut that stuff out and save it for the DVD. But cool. All right.
Release of that anyway.
So
But,
what you're saying is the Judge Dredd DVD will be fantastic, is what you're saying.
That's going to be amazing.
all of that stuff is the reason it's a successful Dredd film.
Cool. All right.
And the reasons people will hate it are the reasons that it's good.
Nah, no one's going to hate it over here. We love brains exploding. So, cool. Very cool. All right, we've gone very, very long, but that's okay because we had a lot of cool zero-issue stuff to talk about. Big week. That first week of the month is always going to be huge, kids. I don't know what to tell you. So go to the website, fanboyversus.com. Make sure you download the app if you have Android. You can download the app at the Play Store from Google and, get us on the go. And anyway, thanks so much for tuning in, and please tune in next time when it'll be Fanboy Versus.
This has been Fanboy Versus. Visit us at tfradio.net for show notes and to subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at tfradio for news and updates. Like the podcast? Leave us feedback on iTunes. Copyright 2011 Radio Free Cybertron.